today on the channel, I'm going to be reviewing the Brooks Launch 7 and 8. And I'm going to tell you about my experience with these shoes. I've owned these shoes for about 6 to 7 months, and they are on their last leg. And then I just got these shoes. I've probably done about 4 or 5 workouts in these. These are the really cool Brooks Launch 8 leopard print shoes. So let's get into why I chose these shoes and kind of how I think these shoes would work for runners, and specifically from a fat runner's perspective, because I'm a fat runner. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I am 176 pounds at 5 foot tall. So I need shoes that can accommodate me. I need shoes that are gonna support me. I need shoes that are not gonna make me roll my ankle when I go out on a hiking trail. And these shoes are very reliable for that. Like I said, I think weight plays a big factor in what kind of shoes we choose, especially when we need those more supportive shoes. And to me, I had always bought cheaper running shoes. I had bought like the $50 or $60 pair of Nikes that were just flimsy, like you could literally bend them in half. And I saw that time and time again, I would get back from my runs and I would just be in pain. My feet would be hurting. I'd have cramps in my feet that ran up to my ankle. I didn't realize how important a shoe actually was until I started watching running videos and running form videos, and that really changed my perspective and made me buy these more expensive shoes. So this is my first pair of Brooks that I've ever owned, and the reason that I went with Brooks initially was because I actually had a doctor's appointment and my nurse had these leopard print Brooks shoes on, and I was like, that is a beautiful pair of shoes. And she said that those are her everyday shoes. She wears them because she works on her feet for 12 hours a day, and I was like, I'm pretty sold. So I went home and I ordered these off of eBay. I did pay a little bit more for these because I wanted to get the tie-dye print, and of course it was sold out because every good thing online is always sold out. And so I wound up having to buy that from a person on eBay, and I paid 140 bucks for those. And this pair was sold out in my size as well, so I wound up paying 140 bucks for these. So they definitely weren't cheap shoes. So let's get into the quality and what I've noticed about these shoes. So just from the research that I've done, shoes are supposed to last 300 to 500 miles for runners, and that equates to about 1 million steps for me. I calculated how many miles 1 million steps would be, and it was like 330 miles. So I've ran probably 1.2 million steps in these shoes, so that is why they were so worn out. Let's look at the damage to these shoes so far. I've been running in these shoes since February of 2021, and it is now September of 2021, and I'm sorry to tell you guys, but I'm gonna have to retire you. But these started to get damaged on the front in the very first. They started to get that little damage in the front, and I'm sure that's from how I placed my toe on the end of the shoe and probably from how I hit the shoe on the ground at times. And then in the back, they started to wear right here. So if you are familiar with running shoes, you probably know that those are some of the common areas that shoes will start to get messed up. I haven't seen a lot of wear and tear to these. This is going to be really, really hard, really stiff. And the reason for that is it keeps your ankle from rolling whenever you are putting too much weight down. Fat runners have a tendency to kind of roll their ankle, and that really, really helped me because I almost rolled my ankle several times, and I think this shoe was a major reason why I actually didn't. As far as the laces go on the Brooks Launch 7, I really love these laces. They are super easy to keep tied. I rarely ever even had to wind up tying them. They just kind of stayed tied for the most part. On the back, you see the Rock and Roll Marathon series. So that is just a little bit of information about the shoe. And then here's the bottom of the shoe. You can see that it is flexible, but like with some of the Nike shoes I've owned, you could take the shoe in the middle and completely bend it in. So with these shoes, you really cannot do that. And these have a lot of wear on them now. So with that other pair I have, that's probably not going to be the case. I think that you can probably get 6 months out of a pair of Brooks shoes, and that is with everyday use. I am someone who typically will walk anywhere between 2 to 3 miles per day just in my everyday life. And then if I walk, and in addition to that, like if I go on a walk, that might put another 2 miles on. So having the shoe for 6 months is really, you know, as the best I can hope for. If you've ever been to like a consignment store or a thrift store, you'll see a lot of like worn out shoes like Asics on the shelf, because once runners get as much wear as they can out of a shoe, it's basically no longer useful to them. I do plan on still keeping these, but as far as my running shoe, I'll probably just retire them. I'll just wear them on days when I have bad weather or I'm going hiking in the woods and I don't want to get these dirty. As far as like aesthetically, I think that these are beautiful shoes. I mean, obviously there's a reason why I paid an extra $40 for them. I could have just gotten them a $100 black pair, but I just really like this leopard print. I do have some footage of me dancing in these shoes, so I'll try to get that in the video as well, just so you can kind of see how they move. And this shoe is a lot less flexible than my other shoe because this one's worn out. But this shoe I think is going to be really, really awesome for me going into winter, because I am someone who runs outdoors during the winter and I need a really sturdy shoe. You can feel on the side here, it's extremely tough here. It'll keep you from rolling, like I said. And as far as it hits on impact, you're really not going to be absorbing as much because you've got that thick pad going in the shoe here. You can look up more about like the specs as far as these shoes go, but this is, you know, you can look that all up on the website, on the Brooks website, and they're going to tell you all the different features. But I think as a shoe for fat runners, Brooks is really, really good. I've definitely fallen into the trap of buying like cheaper running shoes just because they were cute, and you know, you really do pay for it in the long run. I'm not able to see a huge difference in the Launch 7 versus the Launch 8. I know that, you know, there are probably some minor changes that they've made, but for the most part, the shoe construction looks pretty much the same just from looking at it. Everything's got sort of similar feel to it. The last thing that I want to touch on is how I clean these shoes, because I know a lot of people have different opinions about this, but these shoes have actually been washed probably 4 times and they've been absolutely fine. There were some instances where I went on a hiking trail and they got completely muddy all over and they came totally clean after washing them. So these shoes can be washed. The way that I wash them is just with a load of towels or blankets, and I'll kind of wrap the shoe up in that, and then I let them air dry. So I did not ever put them in the dryer because that will mess up your dryer and probably mess up the shoe. But with that being said, I try not to wash shoes too much, but there are some things that just happen and you wind up having to wash them. But you can always take like a magic eraser and go over the side of them there, and that way they'll remain clean as long as possible. My expectations for this shoe is that it will last me a good 6 months with everyday use, and that probably the black will start to fade. That's the first thing that you see on a black shoe, is that you'll get that kind of grayish, whitish kind of color coming in. But hopefully they have a long and happy life. I'm really planning on using these to the fullest. Since I've bought those other shoes, I think I've lost about 5 pounds with my running since February. I haven't lost a ton of weight. Certainly since I started being more intentional about how many steps I get per day and trying to get a 30-minute workout in every single day, I've definitely lost weight compared to where I was at February, and I've lost a ton of inches. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my review of the Brooks Launch 7 and 8. I know this is just like an opinion-based review, so there's not a lot to it, but this is definitely my favorite shoe as far as affordability, design, and comfort. This shoe is perfect for me. So this is the Brooks Launch 8, and I am retiring these guys. Thank you for your service. This is a Brooks Launch 7. If you like this video, guys, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like this kind of content, please do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. I plan on making a lot more content about my weight loss journey and what it's like to just move through the world as a fat person trying to lose weight. So hopefully you enjoyed the video, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care until then.